Welcome back to Ben Reviews, and when I was a kid, the privilege of the internet wasn't abused. I have gotten several requests to review the Star Wars prequels. Now I'll have to cut my tongue out later. Anyway, I've gotten requests to review those movies, and as much as I would love to please my fans, I wouldn't add anything new to how bad those movies are. Everyone already knows why those movies suck so much, and every other reviewer has already talked about them. And I, for one, don't like doing what everybody else has done. I like doing my own thing. But there is something else Star Wars related I can review. That's right, I can review the Family Guy Star Wars parodies. What did I just say? Yeah, Family Guy made a trilogy of Star Wars specials that spoofed the original Star Wars trilogy. Isn't that typical of Family Guy? Coming up with their own original comedic ideas. I can't believe nobody else thought of parodying the Star Wars movies. But maybe I'm being too mean. Maybe Family Guy can offer its own spin on Star Wars. And I'm right. Oh God, how I'm right! Well, first things first, let's start with the parody of the first Star Wars movie. So, get ready to think that George Lucas maybe isn't that bad of a guy after all. Here is my review on Blue Harvest. So, the special starts out with the Griffin family watching TV, and the power goes out. With nothing to do, Peter tells the family of the story of Star Wars. So, the opening scroll for this movie starts to describe the plot of the movie, but then it goes on to talk about how Angelina Jolie kissed her brother. Wow, didn't take long for the pop culture references to start, didn't it? And guess what? It's not funny. Seriously, you're just pointing out something that happened in real life. How is that funny? That's not a joke. That's a reference. A dated reference to boot. God, what does this have to do with Star Wars? Oh, just because it was similar to Luke kissing Leia? Are you trucking me? Is that your excuse to write that joke in? How forceful can you get, Family Guy? I'm not even 3 minutes in, I'm already ranting! Anyway, before the scroll ends, it mentions the movie Gia. Folks, I've never heard of that movie. Family Guy made a reference that I didn't get. I'm scared. Even more scared than that time I read creepypasta stories at midnight. Achoo! Gazoon-tight. Thank you. Hey, wait a minute. Are you the rake? No. I'm Jeff. Oh, thank goodness. Good. Go to sleep. Quiet, you. Sorry. So, after the scroll, it shows the Imperial Star Destroyer firing at the Rebel ship, and the Star Destroyer has a Bush Cheney bumper sticker. Get it, folks? Republicans are evil! The writers for Family Guy have never made a jab at Republicans. So, the Star Destroyer hovers over the Rebel ship, and the Rebels stand guard at the door, ready to fire. One of the Rebels then asks, hey, what if they come in from another door? Another Rebel replies, then we'll move to that door. Here's another reason Family Guy fails. It explains the jokes to us! Writers, that's not a joke. That's one of the characters saying a possible action. You don't say things that can possibly happen. You actually put them on screen and execute them in a comedic way. That's funny. But what you did there is you told the audience what could happen, and you didn't even take advantage of it. That's the definition of lazy. You could have simply just had the stormtroopers come in another door, sneak up on the rebels, and shoot them. See? I would get that. Oh wait, I forgot. The writers know what kind of audience they're writing for. So, Princess Leia, played by Lois, records her message to Obi-Wan Kenobi on R2-D2, played by Cleveland, and he and C-3PO, played by Quagmire, escape on an escape pod while Lois is captured by stormtroopers, and she meets Darth Vader, played by Stewie. Stewie wants the plans to the Death Star, and Lois says that they're in a case, and it shows the setup to Deal or No Deal. Stewie picks a case, and it's not in there. Aha! Aha! It's funny because Deal or No Deal exists? Anyway, Cleveland and Quagmire land on Tatooine, and Cleveland sets off on his own and is captured by Jawas. A Jawa transport ship drives up to another transport ship, and a Jawa hands another Jawa some Grey Poupon. And it cuts to the next scene. What the duck was that? No, seriously, was that supposed to be funny? Are you trucking me? You can't honestly tell me with a straight face that there's any comedic value in that. All the Jawa did was hand a brain of Dijon mustard to another Jawa. How is that funny? I know it's a reference to the Grey Poupon commercials from the early 90s, but all they did was just copy those commercials. That's it! There wasn't any humor in it whatsoever. Basically, here's what the writers call humor. Look, it's mustard! Laugh at it! My God, I can't believe I'm considered a moron if I don't find this funny. I've never felt this left out than when I went to that Iron Maiden concert wearing a sombrero. Wait, where was this joke going? So, anyway, we cut to the Death Star where they discuss the hole in the ship. Once again, instead of taking advantage of a comedic way to poke fun at a flaw in the original movie, they just explain the joke to us! I can feel my sense of humor getting downgraded just by watching this. We cut back to Tatooine, and Cleveland and Quagmire brought by Uncle Owen, played by Carter Petersmith. We then cut to nighttime where Luke Skywalker, played by Chris Griffin, is looking at the sun while John Williams' famous music plays. If you don't know who John Williams is, don't worry, Chris literally introduces John Williams to us. Wow, congratulations writers. You've taught a major amount of your fans about someone they've never heard of before. Now, if you would be so kind, could you write some actual comedy already? Anyway, Chris is then fixing up Cleveland, and he discovers Lois's message, and he wonders if the message is for Ben Kenobi. The next day, Cleveland runs off, and Chris and Quagmire go after him. They're attacked by sand people, but they're saved by Obi-Wan, played by Walking Pedophile Joke. Now, I'm sorry, his real name is Walking Pedophile Joke. No, actually, his name is Herbert. But his name doesn't matter because all he is a walking pedophile joke. So, Herbert gives Chris a lightsaber, and Chris finds out that the Empire might attack his home. So he runs back home to find that his family is burned. Heck, even John Williams and his orchestra gets burned. Chris then says that they have to do the rest of this movie with Danny Elfman. Danny Elfman conducts his orchestra for a few seconds, and Chris proceeds to chop his head off. This is another thing Family Guy fails at. Dark comedy. You see, for dark comedy to work, you have to do something dark in a comedic manner, which includes killing people in some funny way. However, when Family Guy takes a crack at dark comedy, it misses the comedic aspect completely. So, it doesn't come off as funny, it comes off as disturbing. All they're missing is the horror movie music. Also, I love Danny Elfman, so truck you, writers! I remember the last time I was this ticked off. What, no cutaway? Okay. So, Chris, the droids, and Herbert go to the cantina bar and try to find a pilot so they can go save Lois. They meet Han Solo and Chewie, played by Peter and Brian respectively. A little unfunny bit with Greedo ensues, and afterwards, they head to the Millennium Falcon, and they are attacked by stormtroopers. They get in the Falcon and manage to get away. We cut to the Death Star, where it's used to destroy Lois's home planet of Alderaan. There's a little bit where two Imperial soldiers complain that there's no railing inside of the tunnel where the laser shoots out. You're doing it again, writers! You're explaining the joke and not actually doing anything! Just have one of the soldiers fall off! There! That's funny! There's no explanation needed! It can be a well-timed slapstick gag that fans of the movies would get, but no! You think people aren't going to get it, so you have to explain it to us like we're trucking idiots! Please, take advice from the Joker. If you have to explain the joke, there is no joke! Couldn't have said it better myself. I would love to keep going, but I don't know how to talk to manatees. Anyway, on the Falcon, Chris is doing some Jedi training, and the hyperspace that the Falcon used to get away from the Empire wears off, and Peter says that they're in an asteroid field, and it shows the Atari game Asteroids on the windshield. Ah ha ha! Ah ha! Something I recognize! That's funny, right? Ah ha ha! Ha ha! Oh my god, a wall! Ah ha ha ha! So, the Falcon Falcon is sucked into the Death Star, and the crew manages to sneak aboard it. Peter and Chris say they're going to go look for Lois, and Herbert says that this will be the last time he and Chris see each other, so he proceeds to sing I Had the Time of My Life from Dirty Dancing. Again. Here is another one of the 1,354 things that Family Guy fails at. The manatees think that characters singing songs that everybody knows is funny. Well, I've got news for you, writers. It isn't! God! I haven't felt this stupid since that time I failed a survey. Oh, I failed a survey. Hell, no! I already said the joke. There's no cutaway required. Oh my God, a cologne! No, it's okay. I'm you. But I'm me. No, I'm you from the future. Oh. Does Lucy accept that invitation to go on a date with me? No. You might want to prepare for that restraining order. Aw, man. Oh, so that's why I couldn't remember where I was for 3 months. Okay, I better get back to the video. So, Peter and Chris pretend Brian is a prisoner, and they try to find the prison section of the Death Star. They make it to the cells, and Peter shoots the guy who's guarding them. Chris finds Lois, and he breaks her out. They're found by stormtroopers who start to shoot at them, and they go down the shaft and land in the garbage disposal. The walls begin to close in on them, and they're trying to call Quagmire in Cleveland for help. And guess what they're doing? Smoking marijuana. People doing drugs still isn't funny, manatees. It just isn't. If there's anybody out there who thinks it is, I'm sorry, but you're stupid. But that's just my opinion. Sorry if I grew up with humor that had structure to it and isn't just people sitting down and doing something that practically everybody else does. Anyway, the crew is saved from the walls and Peter finds a couch in the disposal. So a drawn out joke of them trying to get the couch out of the room ensues. And it feels like a nail is being hammered into my head with each second that so-called joke lasts. So Herbert meets up with Stewie and Stewie kills him. The crew make it back to the Falcon and they have a hard time getting the couch on the Falcon. And did I say it was a nail being hammered into my head? Well, I meant a railroad spike. So the Falcon takes off and it's attacked by TIE fighters. So Peter and Chris fire at them. Ever wonder why they're called TIE fighters? Because they're from Thailand. Ah, that's not funny. So, while Peter and Chris fire at the fighters, Rumac from Airplane comes out of nowhere and says, I just want to tell you both, good luck. We're all counting on you. Folks, that's it. I'm really getting tired of this special. But, I'm not going to yell. I'm just going to shout at the top of my lungs! Manatees, you're not being funny by stealing material from other people! You're just being lazy, dishonest jackasses! Having something from something else popping up in the show isn't funny! It's confusing and stupid! I know this is probably going to entertain the 6-year-olds who watch your show, but it's not going to be funny for people who know what comedy is and actually like writers who come up with their own material instead of horrible writers who need pop culture to write all their so-called jokes for them. Having celebrities popping up out of nowhere serves no purpose to the plot or humor. Isn't that right, Clint Eastwood? Get off my lawn. Just as I was thinking. So, they land on the Rebel base and they watch a video where Magic Johnson demonstrates how to blow up the Death Star. Oh my god, somebody famous! They're so funny just standing there! So, the Rebels fly into space in their X-Wings and the members of the fleet sound off. You know what this means? Pop cultural references! Red Button standing by, Red Fox standing by, Big Red, yes, the trucking gum standing by, Red October standing by, Helen Reddy standing by, Simply Red standing by. Now, of course, all of these are funny because they're celebrities. Hey guys, guess what? Dave Grohl! Dave Grohl! Dave Grohl. So, the Rebels attack, and the Griswolds from National Lampoon's Vacation movies appear out of nowhere for some reason. The Death Star blows up, and Peter ends the story. Chris and Peter then talk about Robot Chicken for 1 minute. No, I'm serious. They actually included Chris and Peter talking about Robot Chicken for 1 minute in this special. Ow. That inside joke is so bad I can actually feel it. Manatees? I know Seth Green, the voice of Chris, created Robot Chicken, which also did a Star Wars special. Stop talking to me like I'm a brain dead idiot! Bottom line, this special sucks! I mean, ow! Watching this was just painful. Even more painful than that time I broke a pinky promise. Who wants cupcakes? Basically, it's just Family Guy being Family Guy, with the plot of Star Wars thrown in. The characters are lacking in any character. They just feel like they're just there to say unfunny jokes. The animation makes Hanna-Barbera cartoons look like Studio Ghibli movies by comparison, and it's Family Guy. That's all I have to say. You know what's sad? Pinky and the Brain, a Saturday morning cartoon aimed at kids, had a funnier Star Wars special than Family Guy, which is a primetime show made for adults. Wait, I'm sorry, I goofed. I said funnier, which would imply that this special was actually funny. It wasn't. I don't even know what it was, but funny isn't it? God, the special's horrible. I don't know how I'm still breathing. Well, look on the bright side. I've heard from some people that this special is the only good one of the Family Guy Star Wars specials, and the other two are pure crap. Wait, this is the good one? This? Oh my God. Well, I'm Benthelooney, and I'm signing out. I'm gonna go start writing my will. Dave Grohl!